Another lesson, another lecture in personal finance. I'm Jim Munchback, and I am the professor of personal finance at the Bauer College of Business at the University of Houston, and I'm about to start. But first, I have to open Zoom and let some folks join the join the meeting. So I haven't logged into Zoom. I need to switch accounts. You can't see what I'm doing here, but I promise you I'm doing something. It's something necessary. I'm logging into Zoom where I will find, oh, lovely, my password has apparently changed or I typed it in incorrectly. Has that ever happened to you? Okay, here we go. Now I'm going to jump into Zoom and start the meeting. So those of you who are waiting, can't hear me speaking yet. Looks like we have some folks waiting. 2 people entered the waiting room. Okay, admit all. Welcome, welcome. If you're joining me on Zoom, I welcome you. If someone could please give me a sound check and just let me know. Hey, Tom, can you hear me? Anyone? Awesome. Okay, thank you. I appreciate that. We got a lot to cover today. It's, as usual, summer school, and summer school, we move so fast. You guys did a great job on your assignments last week. I don't know if I mentioned, but I office at the University of Houston in the Innovation Center at the Technology Bridge. And our office is closed for renovation. They're putting in new lighting, which is a good thing. They've needed to do that for a while. But at any rate, for 2 weeks, they kicked us out, which was very unexpected. And so I'm working at home. And I actually went camping last week since yesterday was actually a bank holiday. So I took my wife camping in our RV at Lake Livingston. It was fantastic. And I didn't have Wi Fi, didn't have internet. I did, but not much. Very slow speeds, using my phone as a hotspot. So for that reason, that's my excuse to say if you posted your assignment by Friday at 3 p.m. and you posted it early and you should have received some feedback and some extra points. You got the extra points, but you probably didn't get much feedback. So hopefully everybody's happy with your grade. Those of you who turned it in, and I didn't get around to grading until yesterday. So as I often do, if I don't have time to grade your assignments on Friday or Saturday or sometimes even Sunday, I will go ahead and give you those extra points because you've given me the honor and respect of turning your assignment in early. And as I just believe that students who turn their assignments in early are typically the ones who get A's. I wasn't that kind of student. I turned my assignments in at the last minute. And so, anyway, if you turned it in a little bit later than Friday at 3 p.m., you should have been surprised with a few extra points. I did notice that I have several assignments still pending to be graded in my queue, and I will get to those today as I post 2 new assignments for this coming week. So we move fast. I do believe we have 2 assignments. I'm prepared to cover the next 2 assignments today in this lecture. And I did forget to look at the syllabus to see if we have 2 assignments. But can somebody check and see if that's in the syllabus for this coming week? Do we have 2 assignments? I think we have the Credit Crush setup, Consumerism and Credit, and then the next one would be the actual Credit Crush assignment. My favorite, probably one of my favorite assignments. Actually, one of my favorite assignments is also the assignment you did last week, the parental interview. And I've been reading your interview articles, and those are always my favorite. Actually, that is my favorite assignment because I guess because I'm interested in psychology and the psychology of money, and I recognize that how we think about money determines not only how we feel about money, if we're anxious or if we feel, you've heard some people have a scarcity mentality, like there's just never enough. And then you have other people, and I think I'm one of the other people, who has kind of an abundance mentality where it's like, you live in America, I live in America anyway, and there is so much opportunity if you're willing to work and if you're smart and if you can, do what it takes to take advantage of those opportunities. You'll never not have sufficient resources. That's kind of the way I've approached life. And so, but other people like my wife, I think it's pretty common to have a scarcity mentality where you just kind of always feel like there's never enough. And that can be a good thing. It can make you frugal. It can make you not a spendthrift, which I'm kind of a spendthrift because I always know that I can make more money. So I'm not as diligent about my spending as my wife is. So we make a great team. We really do make a great team because um, we're different. So anyway, I hope that in the course of doing the assignment, the parental interview, I know many of you have shared the insights that you had, and I hope that you guys take the life lessons that you were given by this person who you chose to interview, who you chose to kind of respect in just asking them to share their wisdom about money with you. And I hope that that assignment was as valuable and meaningful for you as it has been for so many other students who have actually went into that assignment with maybe not expectations that you're going to walk away with a real gift, but most of the time I think students' expectations in that assignment are exceeded because you walk away with something very precious and very valuable. And so I hope that happened for you in that assignment, the parental interview. And the other assignment, the credit report. And I know some of you did the other alternative assignment because you don't have a social security number and you can't get a credit report, and that's fine. And I think that's a helpful assignment too, where you watched that video and just unpacked it and outlined it. But most of you were able to get a credit report. And so as I'm reading your comments, it's a very important assignment. I hope you will remember as we go through this semester and as you graduate and go out into your career and into your life, that you remember you can get 3 free credit reports every year. So I would encourage you just to kind of put it on your calendar. And for most years, you're going to want to just check your credit report every 4 months. You can do that for free 3 times a year, 3 different credit bureaus. So I know you know that because you took the quiz. And so anyway, that was assignment number 2 last week. So now we're going to jump into the assignments that are coming up this week. It's 11 minutes after, so we're going to get started. It looks like we have let everybody in who's waiting to get in. Let me make sure that's true. Yep. Okay. So if you're watching on Facebook or YouTube, we are streaming live right now on our YouTube channel and on a couple of Facebook pages. And you can find those links in Missional Money, also in Money Study Group. So let's get started. We're going to talk about the Credit Crush assignment. And this is one of my favorite assignments because what happens in your financial planning portal is you're going to get to do some things that are going to quickly show you the power of debt and credit strategies. So when we talk about financial planning, we're looking for strategies that can move the needle on your financial life. So the Credit Crush assignment is designed to give you a pretty quick introduction to how much you can move the needle in your financial life if you have smart credit strategies. And a lot of people don't realize how important credit and credit payment strategies can be. And especially now with interest rates going up, this assignment and what you'll learn this week is really important. So it's a way for you to interact with your financial planning portal and get to see some of the value of having a financial plan. So before I jump into the lesson, let me remind you and affirm you, I guess, because most of you have already set up your Bayrock account so that you have now access to the financial planning software. It's called Right Capital. That's the company that we partner with at Bayrock to provide, I think, the best financial planning software. Uh, for sure, the best for the money in terms of the value, what we can do with this software, in my opinion, makes it the best on the market. There are other products that are better, but their cost is almost prohibitive, and they're not that much better. So just trust me when I tell you that in this course, you've been given access to a very premium financial planning portal software. And I know many of you are not really going to be all that excited about having an awesome financial planning software at your disposal. You just want to get an A in the course. So I'm going to help you do that. But for those of you who are interested in kind of pushing the envelope and learning how financial planning works from the perspective of a really sophisticated tool, you have access to that. So your plan, if you haven't logged back in, now that you set up your plan and hopefully completed those first 6 data cards, if you log back into your plan, you should see that you have now access to a whole lot more information, a whole lot more data cards. Because my team went in and everyone who had set up their account got upgraded. Excuse me. So if you have not yet set up your account, you're going to be missing some points in the next assignment because you just won't have access to the tools, to the resources, to the data cards that you will need to complete the assignment. So I made that announcement last week, and like I said, most of you have already done a great job of going in and creating your account, and you should see that that has been upgraded. If you don't see access to retirement analysis, investment, if you just see a couple of tabs, you might want to check in with GroupMe and compare notes with other students who have access. And if you find that you do not have the right access, you need to send me an email and let me know, and I will assign one of my team members to go ahead and update your account. So I'm sorry to have to restate that again and again, but most of you got it. Some of you have not. And so those of you who are behind, you're going to see some deductions in your points because you have to keep up in this course, especially in the summer course. So let's jump in. When I first started teaching this course, and by the way, I'm going to take a look at the chat, and if you have a question, please feel free to jump in and leave a question. And by the way, I did get a couple of questions, and I wanted to share that I posted at missionalmoney.com. I just posted this just a few minutes ago. It's how to take a screenshot. And so I've had a couple of students who have been concerned that here's what they were doing. They were taking their phone. I'm pretty sure it was their phone. And they were taking a picture of their screen. Boom. So if you do that, it creates a really lame screenshot. And technically, I don't think that's a screenshot. That's a picture of your screen. And because of the lighting and the digital stuff, it really looks terrible. And it makes it very difficult for me to tell what's in that screenshot. So if you didn't know already, you will get deductions if you turn in screenshots that are actually pictures of your screen. And so I've posted this for just a kind of a how-to. It's super easy to figure out how to take a screenshot on any device if you just go and ask Mr. Google, which is what I did. And so I found these 3 videos and I posted them here for your benefit. But I wanted to mention quickly, just so you know, as a student of the Bauer College of Business, I hope you know that one of our goals as an institution and as a professor in this institution, I am very much behind this goal of teaching students how to be better communicators. Communication is key to your success, no matter what you do. And it may not seem like it's all that relevant to personal finance. Fair enough. It doesn't really move the needle in your course. I don't grade you for your English or how well you spell or so on. But I do ask that when you put together an article, you put it together in such a way that makes it a little more pleasant to read than one big, super big paragraph with no breaks and no formatting. And so, all that to say, there's a reason that that's part of your part of this course. And you guys, most of you are doing an awesome job. When I read your articles and I see your pictures and I see the time that you put into it, my thoughts are you don't need to put quite that much effort in. You're going way beyond my expectations. And while I appreciate that tremendously, I just want to let you know, take a little pressure off if you're one of those students who's just going way above and beyond. Maybe it's easy for you. I mean, it's pretty easy for me to put something together that's pretty fancy. And so if it's not that much work for you, great. It's like an art. It's kind of like music. And if that's your way of doing art, awesome. I appreciate it. Those of you who are taking pictures of your screen, though, you're going to have to up your game because you will get deductions. So I'm not going to talk about that anymore. I just wanted to, if you send me an email and ask why you got a deduction, I'm going to suggest, well, I probably won't reply because it's kind of one of those basic things that, frankly, I don't think I should have to tell you. But at any rate, that was one of the questions I got several of this week, and I wanted to mention that, and I posted a resource for your benefit. So I want you to meet Billy. This is Billy and Sally. When I first started teaching this course, you guys got to see, I think last week, how I met with my group of friends and Sam, the engineer, who Sam has passed, but he was one of the people that really impacted me in terms of giving me a vision for this course and what the three laws of personal finance. The first law is the law of spending and saving. Spend less than you earn and save more for what matters most. So that was Sam who helped me kind of make that a foundational principle of this course. And so as I was thinking about, all of the pieces of this course and how I was going to put it together and try to help you have a really clear vision for how to become a millionaire by the time you're 50. As I was thinking about all of that and trying to sort it through in my mind, how I could have very clear, very achievable educational objectives, I met this guy named Billy. I was taking my car to Firestone to get some tires on my Lexus. And while I was standing in line, this guy, Billy, was there, and he was there to buy some tires for his Ford F-150. And so it was before I started teaching, it was like just a week or two before the first semester started when I was teaching. And so he was a young guy. He just graduated from San Jac with a technical degree, and he was working at a place called Marathon. So we had something in common because I used to have a business inside of Marathon. It was a vending machine business with soda pops and snacks. And I had to put on all that hot overall Tyvek, hazardous suit, whatever you call it, with a hard hat and glasses, and it was super hot and it was terrible. I hated it in the summer, but it made pretty good money. It was a cash business, and I would go into Marathon, and it was kind of fun. I sold that business, but Billy worked in that same plant, so we had something in common. And he started, I asked him what he was doing there. He pointed to his Ford F-150 pickup truck. Now, I don't know if I told you this, but I used to be a master mechanic, and that's how I paid for college. I paid for my own college. I left home when I was barely 17 years old, went to tech school, and paid for my own college and learned how to become a master mechanic, and that's how I paid for college. So as a mechanic, I learned how to work on all kinds of vehicles, and one of them was a Ford F-150. And I could see as a mechanic that there was something different about a Ford F-150. It's 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 got a very different type of suspension. It's a really well built vehicle. Okay, and so Ford F-150. I don't know if you know this. A little trivia, auto trivia. Ford F-150 is the most uh, number one seller in the world for all vehicles ever. Worldwide, no vehicles sold more units than Ford F-150. It's a really well made truck. So Billy had one. He needed some tires, and he had a coupon to get new tires on his Ford F-150, and that's why he was at Firestone. So let me ask you this. I've talked way too much. If you had a Ford F-150 and you had to buy new tires on it, how much do you think you would spend on those tires? Somebody tell me what you think it costs for 4 new tires on a Ford F-150 today. It was a while back, so the price has gone up, no question about it. But I'm going to wait and see what you chat in. And if you're watching on YouTube or Facebook, go ahead and post that. What do you think it costs for 4 tires on a Ford F-150? Because that's kind of the core piece of the puzzle here as we get to talk about Billy and his experience. So I don't see any chatting in, which kind of makes me wonder if you guys are watching YouTube or maybe Netflix or Prime Video. Maybe you're on Facebook. Ah, here we go. Thank you. 1,500. It would cost. Did you Google that? 1,500. 1,500 is kind of a lot. And depending on the tires you buy, it could be accurate, but it seems like a lot to me. And I've bought a lot of tires, although I've never had a Ford F-150. I always thought it'd be good. So anyone else? I've got 15. The best quality tires, 1,500. That may be right. Anyone else? Going once, going twice, going 3 times. No one else. Just one student. Rehan, thank you. Did I say your name right? Rehan. Say that again. Rehan, thank you. I appreciate your participation. It looks like it's just you and me. Yep, yeah. Good tires make a big difference, especially in the performance of the vehicle. So that's good. Jason says maybe around 300 per, so that would be 1,200. That's not a bad. Are you seeing those comments, Rehan? Yep. So you guys all see each other's comments. So we have two chiming in, and yeah, I think so back in the day when I met Billy and we were standing in line and he was going to get tires for his Ford F-150, he had a coupon for tires. They were, on sale. That's why he was at Firestone. I thought, because remember, I'm getting ready to teach personal finance, and I meet this guy who we had a lot in common, and he's buying these tires. So I'm just interested. It's like, oh, cool. Here's a young person who's thinking, not afraid to use a coupon, because sometimes I think, well, anyway, I thought that was cool. So as we were standing there waiting for him, he was in front of me, and Sally shows up. And I these are not actual pictures of Billy and Sally, but they kind of represent, okay, Billy and Sally. And so what happened was Sally shows up and she starts to do what professional salespeople do. Okay, I want you to think about that. What do professional salespeople do? Billy is there to buy 4 tires on his Ford F-150. He got a really good deal on this truck. He bought it from his uncle, got a really good deal, and now it's time to put some new tires on it. And Sally shows up to help take his order and provide the service that he came there to buy, new tires. And Sally says to Billy, Billy, that is a great truck. And she was right. I'm like, she knows a good truck because F-150, it looked good. And she started telling him that, look, Billy, these tires that you want to buy that are on sale, they're okay. They're okay. They're basically the low end. But she said, look over here, and she focused his attention on these really nicer tires with white letters, and they had a different profile. And she told Billy, and this is where I really appreciated her professional sales skills. She told Billy that these tires would make you look really good in that truck. Nothing to do with the truck, but they would make you look really good. And I don't know if you noticed the picture there, but Sally and Billy, young, vibrant, attractive. And Billy happened to notice what I noticed about Sally, that she was attractive. And she was using her attractiveness in her sales skills to help Billy envision something for himself that he hadn't quite thought about. And that is that if he upgrades his tires, he's really upgrading Billy. Think about that for a minute. So it's kind of fascinating. It's why this lesson is really about consumerism, and credit is part of that. But Billy now faces a challenge. And does anybody know? Are you thinking what I'm thinking? What is Billy facing at this point in this transaction, where he came in to buy some cheap tires for his Ford F-150, and he meets this professional salesperson who helps change his paradigm about what's possible for how he looks? What do you think is happening right then and there? What's he thinking? What's the challenge? How is this whole thing called consumerism being played out with Billy and Sally? He's debating on saving money or making himself look better. That's right, Mandy. That's exactly right. And I'll tell you this, the number one most expensive part of life in America is the cost of looking good. We buy things we don't really need to impress people we don't really know with stuff we don't really have to have. So Jason, yeah, he's being sold. And that's one of the kind of the lessons behind the lessons here about consumerism, is you are always being sold something. In this case, Billy is being sold something that has nothing to do with what he needs. But everybody wants to be attractive, everybody wants to be liked, everybody wants to be special, right? And Sally is really good at her job. So, do you think Billy considers those nice new tires? And if he does, come on, guys, what else does Sally suggest that Billy might need with those nice new tires? Jason, you got any idea? Rehan, what do you think? If you're going to take your nice Ford F-150 in for some tires, and you meet this person who helps you reimagine your entire life with these better tires, what do you think goes with it? Mandy is right. Mandy, you, you're, you're, you're paying attention. I appreciate that. Rims are a special piece of a vehicle. And if you use the rims that come with the vehicle, they're okay. Most of the time they look pretty good. Rehan, did you have something you wanted to say? It looks like you. Yeah, exactly. That was another piece of the puzzle. So now Sally is not just selling Billy better tires along with some really good rims, but she's also selling him an additional warranty, an extended warranty on the tires. Anything else you can think of that maybe was part of the transaction that Sally was using? Because Sally is a commission based sales professional. And so her job is to sell more product, sell more services so that she can make more money in sales commission. I know about that. I've been a commission salesperson most of my life. And I'm not saying that's a bad thing, because people need products and services. And if you can help them make informed decisions and make, good choices with their money, then that's how you get paid. And I think it's a great career, sales. I'm not I'm not dogging Sally. I'm just saying this is how it worked. What else do you think might have been part of the transaction with Sally? So the rotation part was free. Um, yes, so she did say, we need to check this out. There were other services. You're exactly right. One of those services was a wheel alignment. So if you think about if you put new tires on your vehicle, if it's out of alignment, it's going to wear the tires. And she knew that, and she was right. And so I listened to her. That's what she sold, was a lifetime wheel alignment. That was a couple $100. And then she had to take the vehicle into the shop and check it out. And guess what happened when they checked out the vehicle in preparation to do the wheel alignment? What do you think they found on the vehicle? It was about a 6-year-old Ford F-150. They found some work that needed to be done: a ball joint, a tie rod end, shock absorbers. So more products, more services. And they needed those things to be replaced because, and this is true, I was a master mechanic. It is true. If you have loose parts on your vehicle, the alignment isn't going to hold because those loose parts will let the wheels move around in ways that they're not supposed to. And shock absorbers, that's one of the things that protects the wheels. And so they said the shock absorbers were bad. And so by the time they were done, the bill for Billy was significantly higher than he was going to pay when he came in with a coupon to buy 4 tires, 4 low, you know, not really low quality tires, but the lower end of the quality spectrum. So yeah, air filter oil change, transmission fluid change, um, new valve stems for the vehicles, lifetime balance, road hazard, all of those things just got added and added and added. So by the time Billy saw the bottom line, it was a bit of a shock. So now is where, yeah, he didn't really need a new battery, Rehan, but um, man, a bunch of other stuff. So at this point, Sally comes back with his work order and the bottom line. And this is where she really became, in my mind, a professional salesperson. And this is where this lesson and this lecture and this assignment that you're going to do, where the rubber really meets the road. That's a great metaphor for this particular story, where the rubber meets the road. So, what do you think Sally had to offer Billy that would help take the bite out of that huge price shock? I'm going to let Brittany, no, I'm not. I have someone trying to join, and I'm not going to do that. So, anyone? What do you think, Rehan? What's next for Sally? She wants to close the sale. Monthly payments, what does that mean? It means credit. And so Sally now comes back and she helps Billy understand that while that does seem like a big price tag, it's going to be super easy because we're going to have low monthly payments. What else, in addition to low monthly payments, would make it easy for Billy to say yes? A couple other things that come with the offer for credit cards, for credit accounts with companies like Firestone, besides not just monthly payments, but low monthly payments. What else? Uh-huh. Somebody? Anybody? Come on, Mandy, help me out here. Small discount and credit with lower interest rate. That was part of it. The interest rate was low. As long as he made his payments, the fine print naturally said if you miss a payment, your interest rate will go up. So what else? Low monthly minimum monthly payments, low interest rate, and there was one other big ticket item that made this credit offer really helpful in terms of taking the price shock away from Billy. What do you think the next element in this credit offer was. Come on, somebody's got to know this. Has nobody out there had the credit offer? So I'm just going to tell you, it's 6 months, same as cash. Have you ever heard that before? 6 months, same as cash. So what that means is Billy was not going to have to pay anything for 6 months. And Sally really sold this well, if Billy was able to pay that off, and by the way, at that time, the total bill was going to be around $3,500. So now he's buying tires and rims, repairs to his vehicle, and lifetime alignment, lifetime balance as long as the tires lasted, new valve stems, the extended warranty. And so total price for everything he needed to get done was $3,500. And so Sally's telling Billy, look, you don't have to make a payment for 6 months. Uh-oh, my phone's ringing. Sorry about that. You don't have to make a payment for 6 months. And so that was the third piece of the puzzle. And Sally said to Billy, she had a good point. She said, look, Billy, you're living at home right now. You're making good money because he's working at Marathon. You can make these you can save up in 6 months. It'd be pretty easy for you to save enough money to pay this off. And as long as you pay it off in 6 months, there's no interest. Doesn't that sound like a sweet deal? I mean, put yourself in Billy's shoes. That's what I was doing. Because remember, I was getting ready to teach this class, and I was thinking about this whole transaction and how it works, and how consumerism works, how marketing works, how you're always a target for somebody to try to sell you something. And here's a real life example: Billy buying tires, and now his big ticket price, $3,500. The promise is really low monthly minimum payments, no payments for 6 months, and it's the same as cash. So Billy took it, and it was a sweet deal, because Billy was going to save the money while he's living at home, and he's going to pay that balance off so that he wouldn't have any interest, and he just save up his money and pay it off within 6 months. But guess what happened? What do you think happened? You think Billy did that? Like, would you do that? Do you think most people would actually pile the money into that bill and pay it off before the 6 months? Or do you think maybe life happened and maybe he forgot, maybe he got distracted, maybe other things became a priority? What do you think happened with Billy? No, Jason says no. No, right. Because as it turns out, Billy and Sally, well, they kind of liked each other, and they started dating. And before you know it, they moved in together, and they needed new furniture, and they needed this and that. And then before you know it, they were going to have a baby, and that was great. And they got married, and not sure which the order was. But the point is, life started to happen with Billy and Sally, and that bill didn't get paid. So after 6 months, now they get the interest for the whole 6 months, and payments start. And this is where your homework assignment comes in, because dang, Sally's a really good saleswoman. Yeah, that's right, Jason. She is a really good saleswoman. And so this is where your lesson comes in, though, because what happened, just like happens in any credit transaction, the bill came 6 months later. It included interest for the entire 6 months, which was added to the balance. And so the payments are made. And usually I will take the time to go through the payment schedule to show you how, with a minimum payment on a credit card, you make that minimum payment, and then each month the interest from the balance gets added to the balance, and then you make your payment. And what happens is the minimum payment that you're making is less than the interest that's being added to the balance. And so what happens over time is you just get deeper and deeper and deeper in debt, because you're taking advantage of their trick, which is you pay a minimum balance, and you really never pay it off. And that's what they love. They, being the credit card companies, the credit industry, that's what they love. They love customers for life. They're not really crazy about smart people who know that paying off the full balance at the end of the month is the smart way to go, because those people tend to avoid paying high credit card fees. And so that's the whole point of the Credit Crush lesson. I want you to go out this week, and the setup is you're going to um, you're going to do a couple of things. Let me tell you what this assignment's going to require of you. So first of all, you're going to have to do a little research. I want you to think about what is your income going to be when you graduate. So I want you to think about, pretend you're 10 years older, okay? In fact, you can go into your financial plan and just change your birthday and make yourself 10 years older. And pretend that you're now earning whatever amount you found in your research that you would make if you got your dream job and the career that you're pursuing, your your major. So if you're a supply chain major, what does a supply chain professional make? What's a good average salary? That's what you need to figure out. How much money would you be making if you were working the job that you want to get after you graduate? So make yourself 10 years older. Give yourself the income that you would be making if you had that job. And then I want you to do a few things. I want you to go out and I want you to start to think about what would your living expenses actually be once you're 10 years older, out of school, working, like Billy and Sally, with kids, living on their own, paying their own bills. What are all of those expenses? Over the course of this semester, I want you to really start to think about that. And yeah, for many of you, that's going to mean you're going to have to do some research, and you're going to have to think as if you're down the road a piece, instead of just looking at the fact that your parents are paying your expenses and you're living on campus or whatever. So I want you to use your imagination and a little research, and I want you to put yourself in a position like you would be 10 years from now, with an income and with actual bills and a budget and expenses that would be normal for you at that point in your life. That's what I want you to do. And one of those things, a couple other things I want you to do, is I want you to get ready to buy a house. It means you're going to have to do a little research and find a house that you can afford based on the research you did for the job that you're going to have. So you're going to buy a house. And in one of the data cards you're going to have in your financial plan is all of the data that goes with buying a house. That's your assignment, is you're going to have to do a little research. It's all right there in your financial planning portal. Just look at it, and you're going to have to do a little research and be reasonable with what is the mortgage rate, what are the current mortgage rates, how much is the balance, what kind of down payment would you put down, what is what's the early payoff. All of those things that are part of that data card, they're right there for you to look at. And in Money Study Group, you'll get some more information. So you're going to buy a house. I want you to also go on a credit spree. I want you to spend some money using a credit card. And the reason I'm having you do all this is because the next assignment, the Credit Crush assignment, remember, we're talking about Credit Crush setup right now. But right after that, in fact, it's all in the same week for you. It's the Credit Crush assignment, where you take these pieces of credit that you actually put in place in your financial plan. You're going to buy a house. You're going to spend at least $10,000 on a credit card, and you're going to have to set up that credit card in your financial plan to show that you have that credit card account and the mortgage account. And then third, I want you to go buy your dream car. So those of you who want a Tesla, great. How much does a Tesla cost? Which model are you going to buy? How much are you going to spend? How much interest are you going to have for that car payment? Those are all things I want you to research for yourself, imagining that it's 10 years down the road, you're making some good money like Billy was, and you're ready to start spending some of that money and buying the things you've always wanted, including using a credit card to spend at least $10,000. A house, with a mortgage, whatever your research shows, based on something you can afford, based on your research for your income level, and then your dream car, whatever car you'd love to have. And all this is imaginary, but it's a very important part of this semester because you're going to get to see in the next assignment, the credit crush assignment, you're going to get to see how much that credit costs and what strategies are available to help you pay that credit off in the most wise, cost-effective ways. So that's really the the basic idea for the next two assignments. Again, you're getting two assignments this week. The credit crush setup, where you go and spend the money on those three things. You're going to buy a house. You're going to put 10 grand, at least 10 grand on a credit card. You're going to buy your dream car, and you're going to have to come up with what is a reasonable amount of interest on each of those pieces of credit. Like, what is your mortgage going to cost right now? Last semester it would have been less than it is right now. So you're going to have to go and do a little research and figure that out. It's part of becoming a wise manager of money. You need to understand how some of this works, and so you're going to have to do a little research. It shouldn't take you very long. The actual assignment is pretty easy. And once you get that built into your plan, you'll see in the next assignment what you're supposed to do in terms of manipulating those, just applying different credit strategies. And so that may seem a little over your head right now, but I promise by the time you get one step done and the next step done, it will make a lot of sense. And I'll be here to help answer questions throughout the course of this week in these two assignments. But I want to encourage you to lean on one another. Those of you who are like, hey, this is fun, this is easy, I got this, be available and group me if you can. For students who are struggling in a couple of these things. And if you find that your questions are not being answered and you don't know what to do, just somebody, at that point, after you've checked out group me and you're not getting an answer, let me know and I'll be happy to put a tutorial together if you need one by the end of the week. But you're going to have those two assignments. They're pretty similar. But it's kind of like the setup, and then you actually get to practice applying the debt strategies. So I'm looking in the chat, and I don't see any questions. So let me just go over. So we've got the setup. Whoops. No, that's setting up your. Let's see. So we got the credit crush set up, and you can see these if you go to missionalmoney.com. I just posted them this morning. The setup and then the actual assignment. And these will be in Blackboard. They'll also be in Money Study Group. Money Study Group is where you'll take the quiz, so you definitely want to jump into Money Study Group. You'll have some extra resources there. And again, if you have questions and if you need a tutorial, that's where I'm going to post this week's tutorial if you need one. But most students get through this part of the semester. It's really not difficult. The tricky part might be for you to remember that you're going to make yourself 10 years older. And you're going to have to do a little research and figure out how much money you're making. And I would give you kind of a heads up that one of the things you're going to want to do is think about how are you going to save for retirement. That's not this week's assignment, but it should be pretty obvious that if you're making $100,000 a year or $75,000 a year, you're going to want to be saving for retirement. So coming very quickly, one of your assignments will be to set up your retirement accounts, your 401k. And I'll be teaching you how to do that too as we get into this semester a little more. So this is the actual credit crush assignment. Remember, you have credit crush assignment, but then the setup that comes before it. They're very similar. And this is just where you're going to grab some screenshots and show me your data cards, and you're going to jump into the credit section and you're going to apply some different strategies, and you'll see how to do that. So This just tells you what I'm looking for in terms of your assignment, the article, the screenshots, the before and after data cards. And this is really the key to the whole thing. You're going to review your debt management, and there's really not that many. You can pay off debt a couple of ways. If you're familiar with Dave Ramsey's 7 baby steps, one of them is the debt snowball, where you pay off debt. And what Dave recommends, and I think it's a great strategy, and I'll just summarize it real quick, the debt snowball. It's one of the debt payment strategies that you're going to have access to in your financial planning portal. The debt snowball, Dave's approach, is to pay off the lowest balance first. Now, think about that. You might be thinking that it makes a lot more sense to pay off the account that has the highest interest rate. That would probably make more sense to pay off the account first that has the highest interest rate. But which one would actually save you more money? You might be surprised to actually get to see the difference in your financial plan as you take your credit accounts and you apply these different strategies. You'll get to see the difference side by side and instantly which one gives you the best bang for the buck. But Dave Ramsey says that you pay off the lowest balance first, and here's why. And I think it makes a lot of sense. For most of us, we get encouraged, we get motivated when we see progress. And there's no better way to see progress and see it pretty quickly than to attack the smallest balance first. So let's say you've got 6 credit accounts that you're trying to eliminate. You want to be debt free. And one of them is your house, one of them's your car, one of them is a big credit card bill, and then there's 3 other little credit card bills. So Dave Ramsey's approach is you take the smallest credit card bill and you pay it off as quick as you can. And that feels really good. And now, instead of that $40 a month that you were paying for that little credit card, you take that $40 and you pile it onto the next smallest account and you pay that one off. And that happens even faster because now you have the payment from the first one that you already paid off and you're doubling up on the next smallest one, and boom, you knock that one out. And then you do the next one and the next one. And you get a sense of accomplishment and you get to see progress pretty quick. And so that's a strategy. That's a debt payment strategy. It's one of 3 different strategies you will see in your financial planning portal. And so you get to practice, play with each of those strategies and see which one makes more sense for your situation. But paying off debt and not paying high fees to credit card companies will make a huge difference in your financial life moving forward. And especially if you have a goal to become a millionaire by the time you're 50. You do not have the luxury of having these extra fees, credit card fees, piling up and mounting, which is what Billy and Sally did. And I'll show you their plan at some point. You'll get to see how their choices accumulated over time. And, just like the tires, the $3,500 with a couple of missed payments and this and that, and bunch of other credit card accounts just started to pile up and made a huge weight on Billy and Sally and their budget and their wealth building strategies. And so I'm going to show you how that works, but you're going to have to kind of use your imagination a little bit and do a little research and then take some time to practice and play around in your financial plan. So I don't see any questions. If you've got any questions, post them now. We're about to wrap things up. And again, I'll be looking for, if you have any questions or concerns and you feel like you need some help, I'm happy to do a tutorial to give you some additional direction in these assignments. But I think you'll find them very helpful and not too difficult. So they're worth 50 points each. If you turn them in early by Friday at 3 p.m., you'll get 10 extra points. And if you happen to make a mistake, you'll get the opportunity to correct those and some feedback from me. And when I grade it, I'll give you some feedback, and then you have until Tuesday at 10 a.m. to turn them in and still receive the extra points. So I hope that's an encouragement for everyone to turn your assignments in early by Friday at 3 p.m. For the extra points. My hope is that by the time we get close to the end of the semester, most of you will have all of the points that you need to earn an A, and you can focus on any other courses where you may have a final exam. We don't have a final exam. We have a capstone assignment. It's worth 200 points, and it's basically all of the things that you're already doing throughout the semester. And then at the end, you just kind of review it all and put it all together, and that's called a capstone. So as you go through the course and I give you these assignments, you are building your financial plan. And all of those data cards that you have in there that are pieces of your financial plan, all of those pieces of your financial plan become part of your capstone. So that by the time you actually do your capstone assignment, you may have to tweak a few of the things you've done throughout the semester, but you won't have to redo them. You won't have to even really, you'll kind of review them and put them all together, but you won't have, it won't be like a new test. The capstone is really just an accumulation of all the things you've done through the semester. So I hope that makes sense. I hope that takes a little stress off. And more than anything, I hope that as we go through this semester, you start to understand these different strategies, these different things that you can do in your financial life that will make a big difference over the long term. So we're going to be moving quickly. We're going to get into investments. We're going to get into tax advantaged investing and types of accounts. That's to come. But this week, focus on credit strategies, and it's called the Credit Crush assignment. So let me know if you have any questions. I'm going to let you go and going to end this Zoom meeting, but first I'm going to end the broadcast. If you have any questions, I'm going to be here for a minute. I'm getting ready to end the broadcast. So if you're watching on Facebook or YouTube, thank you for joining us. Please leave comments, and don't forget, go to missionalmoney.com for the content we covered